XDefiant is a free-to-play multiplayer shooter that is a lot of fun. So I'm here to give you my honest impressions and review of this free-to-play game that's been out for a while. It's honestly not like the newest game on the block, but it's something that I've recently started playing the last couple of weeks, and I'm really having a very good time with it. But I wanted to share my perspective from somebody that is an old school Call of Duty fan and has left the series for quite a number of years now, and I am just getting back into online multiplayer. That's right, I am coming back from playing single-player games all the time to actually getting into multiplayer shooters again, and it's really fun and refreshing, and it's just something about like the adrenaline of just taking down other enemies, getting your kill-death ratio up, and just having a blast, activating your abilities. It's really fun. So let's get into the review. So if you didn't know what XDefiant is about, it's basically a online shooter that is just an amalgamation of other Ubisoft products, being stuff like Far Cry and Splinter Cell and other stuff like that. And with this being a shooter, it's actually a shooter that is based off of factions. And so there's really 4 main factions. There's technically a 5th one, but the 5th one is only available if you get the Battle Pass. And it's also like not super important or useful. At least I haven't felt that I'm really missing on something not getting the Battle Pass. And so basically the 4 factions that are included are Libertad, Echelon, Phantom, and Cleaners. Each one has their fun, unique flair on how they are approaching battles, and they all have different intel voices, so whenever you actually score a kill, or you're doing well and your team is winning, or maybe you're losing, there's different voices, so you're not just getting like the same experience, you actually have sort of a tailored custom experience based on the faction that you're choosing. But what's even more important than that is the faction abilities, and so the abilities essentially remove the kill streaks. So there are no kill streaks in this game, and so everyone really has access to the same abilities and the same methods of being able to win a game. So your Echelon faction is sort of your spy faction that is dealing with going invisible for temporary times or getting a sort of personal UAV, basically. Then you have your Cleaners that basically deal with like fire damage, and there's more on that later. Basically, they deal with fire damage, so they have a fire drone or a sort of splash area damage where they can basically smash fire around other enemies that are around them. The Phantoms are sort of your ground control and tanks, and so they have access to barriers and riot shields, and eventually their Ultra, which is sort of your top tier ability that you win usually about once to twice a game. I haven't seen it really happen more than twice a game, where you basically can have access to this Ultra ability that, in the Phantom's case, they can deflect bullets from around them while they're moving around the map for a temporary period of time. So that's a pretty interesting Ultra ability. And the Libertad are basically your healers, and so they essentially heal other people around them. They can heal themselves. So it's honestly pretty cool to be a healer as well, because you don't feel like you're, any less of any other teammate, and so you don't feel like you've lost any kind of firepower. You actually have the ability to help not only yourself, but other people around you by using this sort of healing gas, so it's actually pretty cool to be a healer as well. And the game modes. The game modes are a lot of fun in my opinion. The game modes consist of sort of your basic, normal, everyday stuff that you would expect from a shooter. So you have your dominations and your sort of search and destroy sort of things. But you also have your TDM, your Team Deathmatch, which was just released. And then you have other game modes like Hotshot, Zone Control, Occupy, and a couple of other ones. Actually, no, I think that's it. So you really only have about 4 or 5 game modes, at least at the time that the game is currently out, and so they're, I'm sure, developing more game modes. It'd be great to see a free-for-all option. That's my all-time favorite game mode, in my opinion. But yeah, it's honestly pretty fun playing these different game modes, and each game mode kind of has its own unique spin on things, except for Team Deathmatch, it's just what you would expect, and Domination, actually, it's just what you would expect. But the other stuff, like Hotshot, Zone Control, and Occupy, all kind of have their own unique sort of things. Hotshot in particular is a personal favorite of mine, at least in the game modes that we have access to now, because Hotshot is essentially like your kill confirmed from Call of Duty. And so with Hotshot, you're collecting bounties for enemies you've killed, and you can also collect bounties for your fallen teammates to deny those points to another enemy team. But what's really interesting is that if you are the top player, you can actually become the Hotshot. And so what the Hotshot has access to is increased speed, and they're getting more points for the enemies that they kill, but you're also visible from just about anywhere in the map, and so you're obviously a pretty big target that everyone wants to get. So there's a pretty good check and balance to how that is set up. Now, earlier I'd mentioned that I was going to talk about the cleaners a little bit more, and the cleaners, like I said, are a faction of the 5 that we have available to us right now. In my opinion, they are the most overpowered class in this entire game. Here's why. The cleaners have access to fire. That's sort of their main thing. So they can do a fire drone that shoots out in a straight line, and once it reaches sort of 10, 15 feet in front of you, then it'll blow up like a grenade. And they also have access to like a splash area damage where you can, I don't know if they're like just like smashing the ground with fire or whatever they're doing, but they're basically just decimating the things that are around them. Sort of like your kamikaze attack. If you wanted to go straight into a room that had a bunch of enemies, you can just run in there and essentially kamikaze all of them. But the 2 areas that I think that they are overpowered, the first being that fire drone that I was just talking about. First of all, you get damage for launching it if there is an enemy directly in front of you, or if there is an enemy that is coming up, around you, or maybe they're going to be crossing in front of you. You can launch that, and they're going to get the fire damage from the trail that the fire drone leaves. But also, once the fire drone reaches the max distance, it explodes like a grenade. So you also get a grenade that you can use, and so now you've essentially gotten 2 grenades and the fire drone ability is something that can regenerate over time, and so you've kind of almost in a very far-reaching sense, you have an infinite amount of grenades that have this sort of fire splash damage. And the drone fire doesn't just go away when you die, it lingers for about 5 to 10 seconds. So if you know you're about to die, you can launch that fire drone and hopefully get, an enemy or 2 that might cross in front of you just as you're dying. But that is not the most overpowered part of it. The overpowered part, in my opinion, is that you have incendiary bullets, and this is something that is standard with the faction. So you don't have to wait to accumulate the ability to have fire bullets come out of your gun. You don't have to, wait for the ability to regenerate. You're just getting fire bullets straight out of the gate, and you keep them infinitely. And so even if you don't get the chance to activate your ultra, maybe you haven't gotten enough kills, you at least have fire bullets that you always have access to every single time you shoot the gun. It's not even something that you have to manually turn on. It's just automatically there. And so it is very common for you to get into a firefight. You might die, but as you respawn, the enemy that you were fighting just died as well because they still have that splash damage from those incendiary bullets. So it's essentially making all of your bullets stronger than they actually are, and you just have this innate ability to be able to take somebody down in a firefight a lot easier, or maybe they're running around a corner and they're trying to dodge you, but that fire splash damage can still continue to hurt them as they run around the corner. And so, yeah, it's just an easy way to pick up kills. And while I'm complaining about this is also a faction that I'm just trying out myself right now. So I've spent a lot of time as echelon, and I was just dying constantly from cleaners because other people have realized how great this ability is, or this faction is rather, and so I figured I'd just go ahead and try it out. And let me tell you, I have won a lot more games as a cleaner than I have as echelon. And I'm not particularly bad at shooters in general. Yeah, it's just pretty frustrating that you can die from a cleaner and die from all this fire splash damage, but it's also pretty fun just doing the thing that everyone else is doing that is overpowered. Now, when it comes to my history with Call of Duty, it is a interesting history because I, like I've said, am a sort of an old school Call of Duty fan. So I grew up on the Modern Warfare, the original Call of Duty 4, and of course, World at War Zombies, Modern Warfare 2, all of the Black Ops games, at least Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4. I kind of dropped off after that. I did play the beta for Cold War, and I played some Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare, kind of mixed in the middle there. But really, I haven't played any of the mainline Call of Duty games, and at least bought them myself in a very long time. And so coming back to a more grounded shooter that is, again, multiplayer and fun in that sense, it's been a while for me, and so that's something that I really enjoy about XDefiant. It is free to play. The barrier of entry is non-existent. I mean, it's free to download, free to play, and it's really fun as it is out of the box. I have not spent a single dime on this game. I am not getting the battle pass. Who knows if there is a really cool addition to a battle pass down the road. As of right now, I don't feel like I'm missing anything, and so I'm just having a blast playing this game. And yeah, I really hope that you enjoy it too, that you try it out, because it is something that is worth your time and worth your money because it's free. So I appreciate you watching. If you want to check out any of my other thoughts on any other games that I'm playing currently, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another video like this. Check out either of these two videos flashing on the screen, and I'll catch you in those videos. Peace.